welcome this morning on the Constructing Future podcast. I have my best friend and an honor to have you here, Kelvin Martinez.
Thank you, my
Welcome,
brother.
Kelvin.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. It is an honor to be on your podcast too, man. This is a pretty creative thing that you got going on, man. So thank you for having me.
No, I appreciate you. I know you're very, very busy guy. I know you have a lot going on. But before we start, I want to introduce a little bit about Calvin and tell you a little bit how fantastic is this guy. I met him like just a couple of months ago, but I feel like we have that great bond that we create just in a short period of time because our goals and our alignment in the future and the things that we want to do are very, very similar. So
Mhm.
Kelvin is right now he lives in Atlanta. He has a huge retail tech business where he can help a lot of people in that industry. And he's
Mhm.
also a dad, which I am too. You know, I have a 6 months boy, so that's probably why we relate so much. You know, and then we have a passion about entrepreneur, correct, Kelvin?
That's right. That's right. We love entrepreneurship. We love business, man. And, to be quite frankly with you too, man, I felt that bond, when I first met you too, man. We had a lot in common. And it's so nice to have people like that around you, with similar goals because it just makes the journey a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. No. Tell us a little bit more about how you started and what was your journey because where you are right now is nothing like compared to where you start, correct?
Yeah, not at all, not at all, man. Wow. So, yeah, let me tell you a little bit about that. So, it all started, man. I'll give you a quick background. I come from a single mother when we moved to the United States. I got here about 9 years old, single mom. We used to live in assisted living, so government programs. And it wasn't all like this, man. But I always was a very creative individual. I knew that that position was not where I was going to end up in. You know what I'm saying? I knew that my current situation was not the situation that I was going to stay in forever. So it all started there, living, next to the projects and being in bad neighborhoods. So I know what that's like. But my entrepreneurship, so throughout 9, 10, 12, 15, I was always like hustling, man, because it was four of us, four brothers.
Wow.
And with four brothers, man, my mom, being a single mom, it was hard for her to buy. If she bought me sneakers, she had to buy sneakers for my other brothers and my
Mhm.
other brothers. So I didn't get the luxury to always have, a lot of these nice things because we weren't set up great economically. And my mom wanted to give us the world. You were just not set up. So I was working, at 12 years old, I was working at 10, 12, at 14, man, I started really like it was my first little business. I used to shovel snow.
Wow.
So yeah, I lived in Rhode Island and we were shoveling snow, like me and my buddy. I would go around neighborhoods and talk to elderly people that couldn't plow their driveways and their drive, and then I would go out and speak to them and I would help them. I said, "Hey, listen, I'll shovel your driveway for $10." This is back like in 2004. That's how I started. I got myself like 10 clients that every time it snowed, I would call them the day before. "Hey, how you doing? Tomorrow's going to snow. We have a big storm. I'll be there." And then
Wow.
that's kind of like where my entrepreneurship journey started with that. And that all started just out of wanting to help people shovel their driveways, man. Like that's how it really started. Like,
That's impressive. That's impressive. I didn't know that about that story, We never discussed about that, but it's impressive to learn like how a young kid like starting from 9, 10, 14 years old already have that drive inside to want to do more to change his life. Is that correct?
yes, that's right. That's right. It was in me. Absolutely. Absolutely
Yeah.
was.
So I see a lot of people, and then correct me if I'm wrong. They grew up in this, I would consider like poor family, correct?
Yeah,
Single,
yeah,
single
poor.
family mom,
Absolutely.
4 kids, poor family. A lot of kids I see from there like going in a bad route. Bad route means like start doing bad decision, start hanging around with the wrong people. What makes you separate from this type of crowd and say, you know what, I want to change my life, I want to do better for my future, and I don't want those type of people around.
Yeah, that's a very good question there. I would say my mom, she really gave us the morals, at a young
Mm.
age. The morals were something that I believed in as well. And I knew that doing right was the right thing to do. Like doing wrong was something that was frowned upon in my family. So treating others bad, you know what I'm saying? Like just doing wrong, man, was just not great. And don't get me wrong, shit, you get involved because being in this type of environments, you get involved in stupid things, right?
Yeah.
You get involved. So, but nevertheless, I was not trying to be involved in those type of things.
Hmm.
So I would say that it just comes down to morals and really your values as a person and what you want to put out there, right? So for me, it was that I didn't want to harm. I wanted to help others, even from a young age. You know, I wanted to be funny. I was a funny guy. I was a good friend to have around, very creative. So I would say that's one of the biggest thing was morals and values for myself that kept me away from that. And then also being in it, you know, growing, being in it, I was looking at it and I was like, man, this thing is not really helping me. Like I'm
Hmm.
not growing. I'm not getting the things that I want. You know, because I
Hmm.
had goals, like we all have goals, right? We
Yeah.
all have goals, even if we don't write them down, even if we are not like constantly talking about them or thinking about them, everybody has goals. You
Yeah.
know, it could be as simple
Hmm.
as, you know, I want to live in a better house or I want to have better clothes. So, and for me as a kid, that was the thing. I had goals. Every time I got into a bad friendship, I was like, man, this is not getting me closer to the things that I want. So
Wow.
I was looking at, okay, then I need to do other things and hang around other people that are going to get me closer to what I wanted. I just didn't understand it completely then, but I knew it
Yeah.
wasn't helping me.
Wow, and that's powerful. I can relate a lot with that because I tell you a little bit more about my story. I come from a small village of 2,000 people in Italy, and 2,000 people, everybody know each other, and we're whole friend, like you say, But just a few of them, I see through the years, they decide to step out and discover the world and get something like think about it that there is something else for that, like you say, I will always see that there is something else for me one day out there. You didn't know at that moment what it is, but you always have the spark inside that tells you, okay, I need to stay away from trouble. I need to do something else to get better for my future. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right. Exactly like that, man.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a
Yeah.
beautiful story. What you got too is true. Like as a kid, you dream, you
You
know.
dream.
I believe that kids are so impressive, you know. And as a kid, I look at what I was doing, and it's like you're a dreamer, you know.
Mhm.
You have these dreams and these visions, man. You could just close your eyes and imagine it. And that in itself was something that will bring you so much joy. I
Yeah.
would do that as a kid. You know, I would envision, I said, man, I want to, like, I'll tell you a quick story. During these times, 13, 14, and 15, right? We didn't have a lot, as you know. I had my own room. My room, man, no AC. I didn't have a TV. My mom couldn't buy me those things.
Yeah.
So I would go out, and this is where, like, kind of like my tech journey started as well, right?
Mm.
I would go out and I would look out. Tuesdays, the trash used to come on
Wow.
Tuesdays, and
Okay.
they would put out the trash outside, and I would see like a TV that somebody threw away, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this thing, man, and I'm gonna see about it. And I would take that TV and I would like open it up, clean it up, and I had a TV.
So
Next
that's
week, I
how
would be
your entrepreneur journey. Well, it started with the shoveling, but then it continued with the tech
that's
and
right,
with the
that's right.
TVs. That's amazing. That's amazing. I cannot really relate to that to be that poor because my family was a middle class family. So
Okay.
I kind of have everything. Like they told me, oh, I'm gonna build your house. I was around like 18, 20 years old when I decided really to take a step and say, you know what, I'm gonna leave my country. I'm gonna go do something else for my future. And they told me, no, stay here. You have everything. But as I
Mm,
say, I go back to the fact that I know that there is something more inside that I want to do it. And I think the audience here and the people in this podcast, they all have something in common. If they're going to listen to this podcast, is they know that they have something else inside that they want to do, that they are not happy to the current situation where they are. Do you agree with that?
I agree absolutely, David. I agree with that. And that's the thing, that when you know that there's something greater out there, you just know, man, you have to follow that intuition. If you
Hmm.
know that there's something great, change your environment. Change
Yes.
it, because then it gets you to necessity level. And I want to touch on this a little more on the
Yeah,
necessity
please.
level. You know, when you do change environments, that necessity level goes up. And when you're saying with the poor, you know, I'm going to tell you, when I was 1 through 4, Like
Mm-hmm.
my dad was involved in our lives. And at that point, he was middle class too. He had us in a private school.
Mm-hmm.
So my situation was good. I had nice uniform. We lived in a nice house. I wasn't missing anything from 1 to 4.
Oh,
But
okay.
we moved to the US territory in Puerto Rico, and then it was good too. Once we moved to the United States, that's where it's like, whoa, what is this? This
Mm-hmm.
is no longer the same as it used to be. I used to have a nicer home. I used to go to like private school. I used to have better friends. What is this that I'm in right now? And
Mm-hmm.
so it shifts as you. So there's a lot of people right now that they're in a situation where they're like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
I know I don't belong here. I know that this is not the situation that I want to be in. And those people that, would probably watch this, I would say, hey, you're right. You're absolutely correct. Follow your intuition, follow your knowingness because you're right, and get going. Do not allow
Wow.
anything else to stop you. Get going.
I think that's an amazing tip. That's an amazing tip because I feel like 95% of the people that they have those dreams and goals, at one point they stop because either the parents, their friends, the siblings, everybody tells you, oh, what are you going to do? You think you are greater than us, you think that you can do better than everybody else, and they put you down. But like
Yes.
you say, don't stop, like continue like sparkling that dreams and continue like fueling that dream, because one day you're gonna look back and you see, wow, I did it.
Yeah, it's true, man. You're so right. The environment, the people that you're around, those people can really stop you. And sometimes it's family. It sucks to say that because, the family unit is something that you have to appreciate, and family's family,
Mm-hmm.
nevertheless. But then you have friends that they don't have the reality that you have.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have, the visions, and they don't have the drive sometimes that you have. So they may put their fears on you.
Mm-hmm.
And then because you value these people, you listen to them. And that is
Mm-hmm.
that is a mistake.
Yes, sir.
And I didn't learn about this early on. I was the type of guy that I was out there, very outgoing, very creative. And there was a point in my life where I was actually not as creative, not as outgoing. And it was because of my environment. The friends that I had around, the people that I had around me, they were not seeing the things that I would see. And the things that they would say would actually put me down. I used to second guess myself, like, am I doing the right thing? Man, is
Wow.
being confident the thing that I should be, and then you'll start second guessing. So, having the right people around you is very important, and not listening to others' fears or others putting you down. It's another key thing that entrepreneurships or any type of people that want to do great in life should know about.
I definitely agree with that. And I see myself. I completely, when it came to the US, I completely disconnect with my previous environment. I even have WhatsApp chat with my whole friend that I cut them completely, 100%. And I start my life from zero. And that at the beginning was a struggle. Don't get me wrong. I
Wow.
see, like, I go out of my comfort zone for 23 years with my best friends and everybody that was still like in my group, and I completely cut them off. I completely restart a new life, and I was struggling for the first like year. I would say, what the fuck I'm doing? Like I was completely lost. I said at one point, I also say I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go
Wow.
back to my whole me. That's how I was scared. But then
Yeah.
I pushed through. I pushed through those resistance, like you say. I pushed through all of the not naysayer, no, you cannot make it. You're not gonna be making. What you gonna do there? You're gonna come back home. And then right now, I look at my friend and they say, "Wow, we never think you were making it, but right now you are the only person that is so decides to stay there and create his own life that I can see in that. Wow, you know. But it wasn't
Wow.
easy, like you say. It
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah, you created your own life, man. You're the one in control of your life.
Mm-hmm.
No one else is responsible for the results that you want to achieve in your life.
Yeah.
No one else is responsible. And you did the right thing. You did the right thing. You stayed through. And now they could see that. Now they
Yeah.
could see that. And that would happen with a lot of people. I feel like, even the people that watch this podcast, they're gonna see that when you leave and you start doing something and you really get traction, and you can have success sometimes fast if you really dedicated and you just continue. But you'll notice that you'll outgrow that other environment that you were in. You no
Mhm.
longer fit that environment. And then you can look back and you could see that that environment is still the same as when you were there.
100%. I
You
can
know?
see that. I go back 1 week to my original country and the original village, and I see nothing change. Just the years, just the numbers, 2023, 2024, 2025, but the people, the mindset that they have is still exactly the same. Yes, somebody get divorced, somebody got two kids, somebody get remarried, but the mindset is what caught me, my attention. I go there and they speak exact the same thing. They think about the same thing, and they never like really expand their mindset. And
That's
and, and
mhm.
that's something that it blew my mind. But some of them they happy. They happy like they are. They content about their life. They don't want to do something more. But this podcast is not for those people. This
Yeah.
podcast is for people that they want to grow, for people that they want to do something else in lives. So let's go back to you start your tech journey with like basically getting the TVs, pulling in your room, and how did you get from there to where you are right now? What you can tell to the audience? What they should do besides changing their environment? Because just not by changing their environments, they get to the position where you are. So what are the tips you can give to the audience?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I would say, you got to start looking at the ideal life that you're looking to have. You know
Mm,
what I'm saying? Like, start
okay.
looking and get real with yourself. One thing that I would say is like, what are you doing currently? And you can you can almost outline these things. And I have an outline that I like to do, and that is pretty much look at your life right now and write the actions that you're doing. You're gonna have two sides. You're gonna have one side that is like, this side helps me get to where I'm going. These actions help me. The other ones, they do not, right? But
Wow.
then write them down. Okay, this is what I'm doing. Okay, going out every weekend. Oh shit, this ain't helping me going where I'm
Mm,
going. You see, I'm drinking, I'm doing drugs. Okay, that does not help me. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm actually meeting new people and meeting other entrepreneurs. That helps me. You see,
mm,
going to seminars, that helps me. And it just depends because some people may have different goals other than business, right? They may want to do other things. They may want to be great at the sales career that they have. So if
mm,
that's you, then hey, look at the things that can benefit. Okay, reading sales books. Okay, that helps me, right?
mm,
And you have to kind of categorize those two things and you have to get real with yourself. It just comes to a moment of realness. There's no more of, we can have this personality thing when we go out and we're being nice to people and we're just, behind that mask. I would call it like a mask.
mm,
You're there and things are really, that things ain't really great. So you
mm,
have to almost get real and remove that mask and get
mm.
real with yourself,
Yeah.
because you can lie to everybody else, man, but you cannot lie to yourself.
Yeah.
And
No.
that, I would say that that's the moment that can really shift into going somewhere else, because like you said, it's a mindset thing, man. It's a mindset thing that you need to have, so that way you can start progressing. And it's not going to happen until you get real with yourself. So that's the first thing I would say: get real with yourself.
I love it. Get real with yourself, especially right now. I feel like today with social media and everything, everybody can like kind of fake their life, you know. And like you say, in public they are all great. They driving Ferraris. They do big things. They are on the yachts. And then when they go back home, that they are in their office, that they are in the house with their family. That's the real truth of how the person is, correct?
Yes.
Be real, be truthful. That's what you say. Change your environment. The other
Change your
point.
environment. And I have
Um,
another one.
yeah.
I
Go
would
ahead.
say, yeah, hell yeah, I'm gonna spill the beans out here, man. You
Good.
brought me in this podcast, bro, and I'm gonna give it to you.
No, and again, thank you. I want to thank you to be here. I want to thank you for your time. I know you are a very busy guy, and I really appreciate you to be here and share the knowledge and your journey with the people that are here for this podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me once again. Absolutely. It's my honor for real, man. I enjoy it. I love it for real. And so, I told you I was going to talk to you about necessity. So that is another tip that I want to give others is necessity, man. Whenever you're in that position of necessity, use it as fuel. right?
Can you explain a little bit more what necessity mean and what stand for?
Absolutely. So I'm going to explain it kind of with my story,
Mm,
right? I'm going to
do that.
explain it with my story. So necessity is kind of when you're put against a wall, man, you're like, I have to make a move. I have no other option but to move.
Yeah, I
You know,
remember
it's
Tony Robbins says, "Burn the bridge," no? Burn
burn
the
the bridge.
bridge,
Yeah,
burn
exactly.
everything.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right. I love that story, by the way, with the ships. It was like this Asian
Uh,
guy, he burned all the ships. And
yeah,
he's like, we're not getting off this island
so
until
the
we
same
win.
concept.
Exactly. So that's necessity. And how it happened for me, I was working for corporate. So I was like the top sales guy for this company. I was fine. I was getting nice commission checks and stuff like that. And at one point, I was fired,
Mm,
right? I get fired, and my wife and I, we had a newborn at that time.
mm,
And I'm like, whoa, like my life shifted. Now I have no income. And I said, necessity kicked in, man. I said,
wow.
what am I going to do? So I had an idea in mind, and that's how I started with my current business. I had an idea in mind, and I said, well, you know what? I'm not going to go work at another job.
Mm.
I am going to get this idea going, and I'm going to do everything possible so I can make it out. And that was like necessity for me.
I feel like a lot of people are in the same position that you just felt. A lot of people we coming from corporate America right now. We decide they have an idea, but they are scared to take the next step, to jump and put that necessity level, like you say, burning all of the bridge, put your shoulder against the wall, and say what I'm gonna do about my life. So explain a little bit more or tell your story on how did you do it and say, okay, I'm not gonna get another job. I'm just gonna full force on this one.
Yeah, for sure. So that's exactly what I did. I told the wife, I'm not getting another job. I spoke to my partner and I said, I'm going to make this. She was working, but she was not making, minimum wage. And
Mm,
we have bills and we have a newborn. So what I did, I just put that vision forward, man. I went ahead and like got a little bit of products that I needed, right? I used my last paycheck, $1,000. I remember till this day, I used $1,000, which was my last paycheck.
hey guys, last paycheck, $1,000 with a baby born and a family.
And
You
a
know
family.
that
And I
that's
said,
scary. That for
it's
the most
scary.
people is scary. You know.
It's a scary situation, but I said, hey, I'm either going to make it or I'm going to make it. you
Yeah.
know, there's no other option. So I went out and I invested all that money. I got the products that I needed. So in my industry, it was cell phone accessories, right?
Hmm.
I looked for a spot where I can sell them. I said, I need to talk to people. People
Hmm.
have what I need, the money
Hmm.
that I need to grow, and I can exchange. You see, I had something that I can exchange. I said, I'm
Hmm.
going to give people this accessory. They're going to give me money.
Hmm.
And that's what I did. So I did that, and I got this spot in a flea market. By the way, it was a flea market. It wasn't like nothing luxurious. I had $1,000. Remember, it was like
Hmm.
250 for the flea market. I had 750 left, and then I had to buy some showcases that we did at that point. So
Hmm.
pretty much the whole $1,000 was gone. There was many obstacles that happened. So it's not going to all be easy when you decide to do this. Things are
I
going to
know.
come in, and there's obstacles that are going to come in. And what's crazy is that I went to go buy some showcases that were pre-owned. I had to drive 2 hours away to get a good deal because remember, I didn't have a lot of money. I rented a U-Haul truck and I drove 2 hours back to my house. And on the last turn, turning into my house, I hear the showcases in the back crack. Boom, boom, boom.
No.
The glass broke. I,
Damn.
I get home, I open the U-Haul truck, and I'm like, I see all the glasses broken. I said, it's Wednesday, and I have to open Saturday.
Wow.
And I said, how am I gonna do it? And I said, you know what? There was a number on the showcase. I called him, I special ordered it. He said it's gonna take about a week. And I said,
Damn.
okay, all right. So you know what? But I didn't let that stop me.
Yes.
I didn't let that stop me. I said, okay, these are obstacles. You know what? I'm gonna freaking sell on Saturday no matter what.
Hmm.
So I took those broken showcases, I cleaned them, took off all the glass. I set them up in this little 5x10 booth that I had with no glass,
No glass.
no glass. And I put the accessories on there. And hey, I sold, man. Anybody else would have stopped right there. Oh my God, I have to wait till the week after. I
Wow.
didn't add time to it, man. I said, I'm going to do this thing on Saturday. regardless.
I love that story. That's your story, you know.
Mhm.
Guys, what I learned right now about marketing as well, I want to share a tips with you. Like always tell your story. Always tell your story because that story that you just say right there, you know how many people they can connect to it because just he shared that story and he shared the struggle that he has and he shared all of the ins and outs. Those showcases were broken and he could say, okay, let's postpone to the next week, but he just pushed through. That's something that people, no matter what you're gonna sell in the future, tell that story and people can connect. I have goosebumps. I have goosebumps, by the way, you know,
Wow.
because I tell you a little bit more about my story and I relate to that. I didn't have any money. I was working for a construction company. I was getting, I think, $600 a week in check, and I was at one point I met a mentor that he told me, I'm gonna teach you about construction, but you need to pay me $1,000 a month if you want me to teach you what I'm gonna teach you. And you need to quit your job because this is a full-time learning that you need to put into it. It took me approximately 10 months, 10 months without having the first client. I
Wow.
was going around with the bicycle to see clients. I was leaving my bicycle around the corner of those doors of the $1 million houses here in Miami. And I was going with my nice suit to see those clients, but I was leaving the bicycle around the corner to see those clients. And then after 10 months that I was paying $1,000 a month, I was able to get my first job, you know? So
Wow.
it's like I can really relate to what you're saying, you know? Burning those bridges is key, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's another great story. And you just taught me something, and inspired me, man. Even with your story and what you said you learned about marketing, because it is true. And we have to share our stories because
Yes.
they're unique. And I'm gonna take that, man, and I'm gonna do it more. Man, I
Yes,
haven't
do
been doing
more.
it enough.
We always try to say, oh, I'm in the tech business, I'm in the construction business. But people will really relate. It's, hey, I was struggling. I was in the same position where you were. I came home with a Yuho that was having broken showcase in the back, but I didn't
Yeah.
give up. And
I-
guess what? Right now I am where I am because I did what I did, you know? And that's what people really connecting to it.
It's true. You're so right. You're so right. It took a lot. There was a lot of learning curve, and you just can't give up. Because obstacles are going to come in.
Mhm.
Barriers are going to come in. Things are going to come in, and I believe that when you're doing something great, those things come.
Mhm.
And it's just take them as a test. Take them as a test to your strength. But one thing I knew at that point is that I can overcome those. I can
Mhm.
overcome those, and I can see what I can find to solve that.
Yeah.
And that's really what makes you and creates that experience. Till this day, sometimes I'm using that drive to create my next thing.
Mhm.
I look back at that moment of necessity. That I look back at those moments when my showcase is broke and I said, let's go. So
Yeah.
I use it as a learning curve myself. So when I'm in a position where it's like my showcases are broken and I gotta open, I say, let's push through this. And that might be, the situation of a lot of the listeners. They're in a situation right now that they think that, hey, I don't know what else I can, but there is
Yeah.
always something that could be, there is
Yeah.
always something that you can do about any situation. Just push through. See how you can get close to that thing that you want to do. Get
Mhm.
close to that thing. Take that next step and get closer. And that's one way to beat it. And know that obstacles are going to come in. Don't expect it to go in and it's going to be easy. It might
Yeah.
be easy for you. It might be, but don't expect it because
Mhm.
it kind of never is. You have to deal with these things. And one way that you can also improve, and if I knew this earlier, man, I would have been at another level. It's like, hey, man, learn from others.
Mhm.
Learn from others. Read. If you have trouble reading, then go to seminars, listen to audiobook, listen to this podcast, because
Mhm.
these things are going to give you tools, and you're going to learn about mistakes that you don't have to do again.
Yeah.
I always say success leaves clues.
Mhm.
Follow those clues and do those successful actions, and you'll have and achieve similar results.
I love that. So to recap, basically you saying follow other people's path because they already bring through the journey that you struggle, correct? So you can avoid a
Exactly.
lot of mistakes.
Yeah, just learn from their mistakes.
Mm,
Learn from their experiences.
hmm.
You cut the learning curve.
Yeah.
You cut it. You see, I had to go through a lot of things because I was not reading early on. I was not reading and I was not looking at podcasts. We didn't, podcast was not even a thing, at that moment when I
Hmm.
started. But I would say that right now the internet is so huge and there's so many people sharing their stories that you can learn from. You can
Hmm.
learn from their mistakes. So that way you don't have to.
I love that. I can see a big library right there in the back. So you're big on books and study right now, correct?
Huge on books and studies, man. Huge. Every morning I read something. And if I cannot read it right there in my office, man, I'm in my emails. I actually signed up to like different lists that sends me different quotes and different things. And I am reading, man. I am
Mm,
big on learning. I feel like now, you see, now I learned that trait. It's like, hey, learn from other successes.
yeah.
So now I'm like, I'm reading, I'm learning about myself, I'm learning about business, I'm learning about life. There's tools out there that can give you the necessary steps to get forward.
I love
You
it.
don't have to go crazy reinventing. I call this, man, let's not reinvent the wheel.
Hmm. Yeah.
Let's not reinvent it. It's already made. And the guy who made the wheel probably wrote about it you
Hmm.
know and hey, let
100%.
me go learn about it. I don't have to reinvent it. So that's what I do, man. I keep myself fresh, because I do understand one thing. At those moments that I was doing all those things, I was calculating, and I was
Hmm.
calculating based on the information that I had.
Hmm.
So that's one lesson that I learned. If I calculate based on the information that I currently have, and if I can expand that information, then that means I'm going to calculate even better when
Yeah.
bigger obstacles come.
I love that. You're really a tech guy and you're thinking like a computer, no? Correct me if I'm wrong. The computer is a processor, is a chip. So if you expand the chip, you put instead of a dual core, a quad core, that your computer becomes powerful. And that's basically what the brain of a person is. It's
Absolutely,
genius.
absolutely. Yeah,
I
that's
love it.
exactly how it is. The mind, man, you feed your mind. Feed your mind with the right knowledge,
Mm,
right?
right knowledge.
With the
Yeah.
right knowledge. It's good to validate the information for yourself too. But as long as, yeah, you're packing yourself up with the right information, man, it's going to
Mhm.
benefit and take action.
Now, I want to ask you something because you mentioned about internet. There is a lot of information out there right now. A lot of podcasts, a lot of YouTube channel. Everybody is kind of going into the coaching business, but who you should listen to it? I mean, I feel like if I look at it, everybody, I kind of get crazy and overwhelmed. What's your suggestion about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Find a guy that you can relate to. Find a guy or girl that the things that they're communicating relates to you. And
Mm,
then validate that information yourself, right? Is this true for me?
mm,
Is this true what they're speaking? Is this the right thing? And follow that person, man. Me, I go deep into like one person, man. When I find, like, I'm not listening to all online coaches. I'm not
mm,
listening to every single person,
mm,
right? And there's a lot of these people have valuable information, but I would say find somebody that you really relate to, and look at their lives too. One
mm,
thing that I did was, when I was looking for mentors and people to follow, I
mm.
looked at the guy's life. I looked at the guy's wife. I look at the guy's kids. I look at the guy's friends. How is this person overall?
Yeah.
And does it match to what I want in my life? And if
Hmm.
that's the case, then I said, okay, then this is a guy that I can listen to.
Yeah.
This is a
That's
guy that's providing valuable because based on his life,
that's I feel is really a great point because like I see a lot of successful entrepreneur talking about money that they have tons of money, but then when we see the other aspect of their life are not really great, correct?
exactly.
So you say you are a dad and you have a family. So I just don't want to see somebody that is successfully like on money side, but I want to see also somebody that's successful as a dad, as a family member, that always treat his family in the right way. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right, man. Exactly that. I need to find somebody that has the same core values that I have, and even some values that I may not have that I believe that are real to me and that I want to do. Because, yeah, money is the one that attracts attention. right?
mm,
And a lot of guys, yeah, I got money, I got this, but how are they in life?
mm,
Are they really like switching relationships constantly? Are they like, how are they with their kids? How are they
mm,
with their other relationships? This is probably not a guy that I want to take tips from if his life is a wreck.
mm,
Imagine like you taking tips from like, guys that Kate Spade, for example, millions of dollars, and the woman was miserable personally.
mm.
Imagine
Yeah,
taking personal tips from Kate Spade, at that time, at the point of her life when things were not going great.
yeah.
So I would say that that's the biggest tip for me. Is like find somebody that you really connect with, find somebody that their life kind of, it's like what you want, and then that person you can really relate to and go forward. And if you don't find that person, it's fine, as long as you validate the information that is being shared with you.
Mm,
Like,
mm.
do a little bit of research and
Yeah,
find out, man, because you're going to use this information for yourself. Oh man, is this thing, there's a lot of information out there, people talking, yeah, do this with money, do this with taxes, and some of them things are freaking illegal. You know what I'm saying? They're
yeah,
telling people to do illegal things.
yeah.
You got to validate your shit, bro.
Yeah, no, that's an amazing tip because I feel the same. Like I listen to tax advisor people that they tell me to do something, and then when I look back and I really analyze it, I see, but that's not something that is legal or is ethical to do it. Why you telling me to do that? So it's a great point. So right now, currently, what who is your big mentor? Who is the person that you really look it up to?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I found a mentor, Grant Cardone.
Grant
Right.
Cardone. Okay.
Grant Cardone was a mentor that I looked in, and that's exactly what I did. So what I'm telling you is exactly what I did, man.
Mm-hmm.
Once I started listening to this guy about money and business, because I was growing my business, I started looking. I said, hey, let's see what else this guy's got.
Yeah.
How is this guy's with his family? How is this guy with that? That's kind of like the mentor that I followed in business until this day. I still do. Like, I'm not going crazy. I haven't gone to any other guy's seminars or listened to any other guy in anything else. The only other guy that I really like read about a lot right now is L. Ron Hubbard, and
Mm.
his business tips and everything else. That's what so I would say Grant Cardone, L. Ron Hubbard, and that is it, man. There's other little things like like tax advice, as you said. There
Mm.
may be a guy in the tax space that he's really sharing the things that you need, and the information is really good. Then
Mm-hmm.
you can take some information from this other person if you need some tax knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the ones that I'm committed to.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that. And Grant for me also, it's always seeing him as a mentor, as a person that he always inspire me in all of the aspect of my life. And I've been following him for like probably 6 7 years right now. I've been the first time on the 10x Ghost Conf in Miami, and he came down parachuting from the sky, and I say, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
I was there for that one. I was
Yeah,
there
you
for that.
were, but we never know each other. Damn.
We were in the same room, bro.
We
And see,
were
this is the importance of getting in the right room.
the importance of getting in the right room.
Get in the right room, pay the price. Pay the price, man. Get in there, shit. And if you don't have the price, a lot of times these events are 97, sometimes even free.
Yeah,
Get out of your comfort zone and get yourself in these rooms, because you might meet somebody. Hey, maybe you don't meet the speaker, but you might meet somebody that is in the same current position that you're in, and you guys can relate and build, or has been through that, and you guys connect with and can push you up.
I love that.
Relationships is important.
It's powerful. As a matter of fact, I'm just reminding you right now that a couple of months ago we were at dinner with Grant and Elena, and we were sitting on a table of powerful people.
Yes.
And who the heck was imagining this like 7 8 10 years ago, or where you were shoveling the snow, eh?
Yeah, right.
You were already picturing that. You were already projecting that in your future. But
Absolutely.
but then through the years you create that. And that's the most important thing.
Absolutely, it's true. Now we're in rooms with big time players and learning from big time players. Because it all started getting in the right room. Invest in yourself. And that was another thing for me. It was like, man, when I first invested in like a program, a coaching program, I was like, oh man, this is. And my business partner at the time was like, bro, no, we'll get the information on our own. And
Uh-huh.
it's like, No, bro. Like, I know that this is the right thing. I had to sell my business partner on the fact that we need to invest to accelerate, our businesses. And it
Yeah,
paid off. It happened. So don't be afraid to invest and put a little bit of money into your goals
yeah,
and into your dreams. Hey, money's a tool. Money's a
hmm,
tool to be used. Use it effectively to get you to the next level.
yeah,
Shit, you use it for other things. You use it for bullshit that don't, sometimes, I know I did. I used it for a lot of bullshit that didn't get me closer to my goals. It actually was making me distant from my goals. So, but
hmm.
now it's like, oh, shoot, I can pay this guy to learn this and that. Let's go. I'm going to use
Let's
it,
do
man.
it.
I'm cutting the learning curve.
Cat in the learning curve. I love that. I love that word.
Yeah,
No, and I do the same. Like at the beginning, it's scary, like you say, like paying thousands and thousands of dollars for tickets, for events and seminars and stuff like that. You see, how do I make up this money? Because you're still looking back. Hey, I have a family. I have bills to pay. I have stuff to do. But I feel like the mindset things come to a place that you say, hey, I do it anyway. Because I
exactly.
know it's the right things to do, and that's really great. Well,
Absolutely.
guys, we're getting close to wrapping up the podcast because I know Kelvin is a very busy guy and I'm busy too. So I hope you enjoyed the episode of today. It was a lot of great tips, and I hope you had a great time, Kelvin.
I did, man. It was amazing sharing with you, man. I could be here another hour, so but thank you for having me, man. It was amazing. I want to give a last message to the viewers, man, and I,
Please
I would
do it.
say, yeah, for sure, man. Whatever you're gonna do, whatever you're trying to do the right thing. Do the right thing because you open up the door to so much more, right?
Nice.
What I spoke about with the list, what things are actually building my life and what things are actually, making my life worse. Try to
Mhm.
focus on the things that are doing right and try to focus on doing right for others as well. And you wouldn't understand, man, the magic that happens on that side. Doing the right thing, putting your personal integrity, your ethics, your morals, and especially if you're trying to build a big business, it's a journey, man. It's not a fast cycle. It's a journey. And if you're
Mhm.
in business and you're looking to expand to other levels, do the right thing from the beginning. And I'm going to tell you, it is like a magic wand because you're going to make it, man, by doing the right thing for yourself, for your family, and for others.
Amen. I love that. I love that. And again, thank you so much, Kelvin, to be here. And thank you so much for your time. Tell the audience where they can follow you on social media.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for having me once again. And you guys can find me on Instagram at King Lion 809. So that's King, like the King, and Lion 809 on Instagram. You guys can follow me there, man. I share a lot of tips and I'll love to connect with your audience, man. And I'll love to come on here and connect with you sometime in the future as well, man.
Let's do it. Let's do another episode and give great tips like today, okay? Thank you
Absolutely,
so
man.
much, guys, for following us and for continue growing this community. And again, if you want to follow me, this is Constructing Future. Constructing Future right here. Down below, there is the link, and let's go.
Let's go, man. This is great that you have this. Let's go.